So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Junyuan. You can call me Joy. I'm from AliExpress Russia, and my responsibility is QA engineer in AliExpress Russia. So today I will give you a presentation of the full chain load test in our AliExpress Russia. So first of all, let's go to the agenda. So today I will give you a presentation in the next 6 parts. First is the traffic model of our load test. Second is how we do the data preparing for the load test. And third part is the load test script preparing. And fourth part is before we start run the load test, we will do some system upgrade and identify the load test traffic in our whole systems. Fifth part is the monitors when we are to observe the system behavior in the load test running. And in the last, I will share you some examples of the classic problems when we have encountered during our load test. So before we start my presentation, so I will give you some important terms in my presentation slides. So first, GMV, second, QPS, query per second. Fourth part, DAU, daily active users. And fifth, SPM, IDC also. And the next two terms, it is very important. Shadow table, this is a copy of our database which has a special prefix, and we have the same table structure with the formal table. The traffic tag, it is we added in our request with a specific parameter, and this parameter, it is for the purpose to identify the load test traffic or formal traffic. So as you know, AliExpress Russia joint venture, it is established in 2019. So since 2019, the AliExpress Russia joint venture established, we have 30% more YoY GMV increase in every campaign. So you can see in calendar year 2019, 2020, and 2021, the increase, it is more and more of our GMV, and it brings us a big challenge of our system capacity guarantee and the stability guarantee. So we have get the full chain load test for our system capacity guarantees in our campaigns. So as you know, we will define our consumer and our service in the fourth layer. In this graph, you will find that we have in the consumer layer, we have our apps, and also we have the consumer from the PC and the M side. And all the traffic, it will goes to our SaaS service layer. It has the homepage, search, PDP, and the most important, it is our purchase experience, cart, checkout, place order also. And at the downstream of the SaaS layer, there is some PaaS layer. It was provided by Alibaba Group. And also we have some infra like algorithm, database, and storage. You can see the blue lines, this is a read chain in our load test. And for the red lines, this is the write invoke chains. So when we identify the whole invoke chain in our systems, so next step, we can do the traffic model analysis. The traffic model analysis, it is in the purpose we need to get our load test target during the whole load test runnings. So first of all, let me give you the explanation about our write invoke chain. How can we calculate our estimation QPS for the load test? In this formula, there is 4 indicators. First is daily QPS at summit. Second is QPS at summit of the last campaign. And third is daily QPS at summit of the last campaign. And the fourth is our campaign adjustment coefficient. The daily QPS at summit, we will select a period before this campaign maybe 1 week or 2 weeks, and pick up the QPS at the summit value as our first indicator. And the second, QPS at the summit of the last campaign, when we are do the campaign take granted, we will record the QPS at the summit of last campaign in every campaigns. And also to this campaign, we also have a daily QPS at the last summit of the last campaign. So this is, we can also find it in our monitoring system or in our document accumulations. We will all record these important indicators in our documents. Then we can start to calculate the campaign adjustment coefficient. This is get from our business intelligence. We will do some estimations of our customer traffic and our target of the business in GMV, and also compare the previous 30 indicators. We'll calculate a campaign adjustment coefficient. So here is an example for the card. For example, I have listed this 4 indicators here. Just multiply them together. Then we can calculate the estimation QPS for this campaign. Because of some indicators, the volume of the indicators, it is in secret in our company. I use the S as a private number to give you the understanding of our traffics. And next, let's go to the read invoke chain. The read invoke chain, it is use a different formula for our load test. So we will use another indicators. It is DAU. We have the daily average user view. So at the beginning, we will have the estimations of this Double 11, and also we can get the daily average user view of these domains. Then multi coefficient, then we can get the QPS of this data center. So, and also, AliExpress Russia, it is focused on the CIS countries. Most of our users comes from our Russia. And we also have another data center as our backup in Germany. So we also will estimate our QPS in the data center individual for granting our capacities in different places. It is also another way to grant the system stability. Okay, this is our traffic model analyzed of the load test. Then we start to do our data preparing, and it is very easy for us to do the data preparing for the lead chains, because in the lead chains, we just get our system will record all the access logs from our consumer from the different client. Just we get this parameter from our cloud storage. Use some simple circles to find it and download this file. You can see I just use one circle to get search suggestion request from our cloud storage, and the output it is the parameters which from the users has passed to our backend service. So this is very easy for our data preparing in the read chains. And here is the overview of our data preparing pipelines. So different data, we will add a different node in our cloud computing. And every day we will run this task to generate a new data preparing for this load test. So this is the overview, and totally complete running this task. It just costs 1 hour for the all read invoke chains and write invoke chains data pairing. And after we have finished our data preparing in the load test. Then next part, we start to upload the files to the OSS storage. OSS storage, it is also a cloud storage in Alibaba Group. Then from the platform, we will distribute the load test files to the executor. In the executor, just do the one button click to run the load test. Then for our load test engineers and our developers, just to sit on the dashboard, on the front of the dashboard to observe the monitors. Here it is the load test script preparing. So there is no need for the Jamit script writing and Java code writing for the load test data preparing. It is very easy. Then in the before we have started the load test, so I have mentioned in the important terms, we will have a specific tag for the load test traffic identifier. We will, for the HTTP request, we will have a special parameter in the URL request. And for some synchronized service calling, we will add this tag in the threads. So in the whole invoke trends, there is all the traffic identified. Say it is the load test traffic or it is formal traffic. So this library, it will be integrated in the full invoke trends from the client, from the SaaS layer, from the PaaS layer, and in the infras. And when the load test runnings, so we have another monitor platform to observe there is some traffic come from where. We can select our normal flow. Normal flow means this traffic it is it is a formal traffic from our consumers. And the next is about the pressure measurement flow. This means that the traffic comes from our load test. So this is the powerful equipment in our load test. And for the running the load test, it is after we have uploaded our load test files to our executors, just to click the button run scenarios, it will be start to run the load test for these selected scenarios like checkout render, payment, and also the payment will call back to our systems. If there is something abnormal, we also has one button click to stop the load test running. It will have nothing impacts to the our formal business when we stop running the load test. So when the load test start running, this monitor it is for our load test platform monitoring. It can observe how much traffic we have sent to our load test to our cluster, and how much of the load test traffic it is successful or failed or some else. You can see all the trend lines. It is in green, means that the traffic was sent to our systems and executed successfully. And also you have found that this load test traffic, it is ramped up by step. So because our load test platform will also have ability that we can adjust our load test after we have start run the load test. For example, if we start at 10% load, next step in general we will add to 20% of the load of our target. But in our load test platform, we can adjust our load test traffic to 30% or more. It can be operated by manually. So this is a dashboard for our core application levels. So on these levels, we can see that the key indicators of our cluster: CPU, load, memory, disk, and how much, what level it is currently we have used in our clusters. And in this dashboard, it also is when we start our Double 11 campaigns or the other campaigns, this dashboard also will show to our boss to observe the system behaviors. So, and finally, let's have some learning about our classic problems. So, when we are running the load test in the last campaign, in my memory, the last campaign is Brandy Week at the end of August. So when we are running the load test to the downstream service, because as our expect, it is only one times of our load test traffic will go to the downstream service. And we found that this service has increased 5 times or more times compared with traffic from the endpoint. But it was the actual result is increased like 4 times or 5 times as our expected. So what's the reason why we have get more the traffic from from the endpoint? So we analyzed that. We found that because of the refactoring of our endpoint systems, there is in previous, we only have the one request to the downstreams to get the whole response from the downstream service. And after refactoring, this endpoint has split to 6 components, and every component will call the downstream service every time. So in this case, the traffic has increased the more 5 times as we expect. How to optimize it? It is very easy because we just reduce the invoke times from the endpoint, and this is also has found that we have a problem. Our developer in the endpoint side didn't announce to the downstream service we have refactored the endpoint. We have split one request to downstream service to 6 requests to the downstream service. So in this case, there is 2 solutions. First is at the endpoint, optimize the calling times to the downstream service, so it can reduce the traffic. And the second, if the architecture of the endpoint can be optimized, and just to apply more resource in the downstream service to prepare more services in the NCS cluster and adjust the traffic limit threshold. So this problem, it was solved soon when we are running the load test. And the second problem, it is a little hard for the load test in problems investigation. So when we are running the load test and the traffic model do not qualify to the expect. For example, as we expect, the traffic radio from the endpoint to the downstream service is 1, 2, 3. For example, if we have one request from the checkout, and there is 3 requests that will be received in the item center, because in the checkout there is 3 product items need to be placed order. But when we are running the load test, we found that there is only one request in the checkout, and also in the downstream service item center, also there is only one request. So the ratio, it is equal. And we have lost another two requests from the endpoint. So we try to analyze the request, and we found that in our checkout page, there is a logic of multi-thread. And for our system operation of the load test traffic identifier, when you are using the multi-threads of the downstream invoke chain, we need to add this load test traffic tag in every thread. After we have added the load test traffic tag in every thread, so in the downstream service item center, there is received this load test request as we expected. So the problem also it was solved, and we have cause it was takes our 2 work days to find this reason, because we need to drill down to our source code of the endpoint. It is a little hard for our QA engineers to analyze, and maybe it will be more easier when we are cooperating with our developers together. So that's all for the presentation of the full chain load test, how it is running in our AliExpress Russia. So feel free if you have any questions to our load test systems and the problems we have encountered. So thank you all. Thank you.